Welcome to Pamigurumi. I'm Pam, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I got Happy Mail, and I want to show it to you. This is a vintage Cookie Monster crochet kit from 1979. Found it on eBay. I was looking for a Cookie Monster pattern. I had done the Woobles on the brain. I had done the Muppets from the Muppet book, which I'll show you in a future video. And I started thinking about, I like doing things that are nostalgic, characters that I remember from being little and just fun characters that I like now. Cookie Monster was one of them. So I got really excited when I found an actual kit. So let's see what crochet was like in 1979. So the box is a little tattered. It is legit 1979. Let's see what we get inside. So we've got our yarn. Oh my gosh, it is rough feeling. People, this is not going to be fun to crochet with. It is much rougher than poor old Red Heart Super Saver ever thought about being. So we'll see what that is like. And this is a little lighter blue than I envision Cookie Monster. It's lighter than what's on the box, but okay, that's what came in the kit. That's what we'll use. It does come with a plastic hook. Don't see the size on it. Maybe it says the size in the pattern. I will give this hook a try, but I'm not going to use this hook because it will hurt my hands. So I will see what that's like. There's the stuffing. Looks very fibery. That'll be interesting to get into and see what that's like. I remember when I was a kid, I used to craft a lot, and the cheaper stuffing was foam pieces, and it made the lumpiest little doll you ever had. But that's what I use because that's what Mom bought. Okay, so it's also got some black and brown yarn and some tan for the cookie and some white for his eyeballs. And so here's the instructions. A little yellowed with time. I know how you feel, instructions. I know how you feel. So it does have instructions for the basic stitches. One thing I notice right away, okay, let's see if it says, okay, sorry, I'm trying to film and do this one-handed. Okay, it's got a little metal needle stuck into the paper there. It is pointy, not tapestry. Okay, that was an F hook in the kit. And let's see, it looks like a traditional pattern that I'll have no trouble reading. It does start with a chain 2 and then work into the ring. So no magic ring apparently in 1979. And this is Bogart Craft is the name of the company that made this. And they did several of the Sesame Street characters. Looks like they did Oscar, Bert, Ernie, Grover, and Big Bird. I didn't search for more, but let's see what this one's like first. So let me get started on this, and I will give you some updates on what it's like to go back in time. So in 1979, I would have been 16, depending on what time of year it was. I was a December birthday, so I would have been a sophomore in high school. So let me wander back. In Sesame Street, I remember going to our library, and I grew up in Michigan. It was in the basement, had its fallout shelter sign, and we would go watch Sesame Street on a small black and white TV as part of our entertainment for the day. So let's see what it's like to crochet circa 1979. I have to show you what I just found. So I was trying to find the center pole, and I found somebody had attempted to do some chains and apparently gave up on poor Cookie Monster. I know what that's like. Just ask Liam. Anyway, okay, we'll get going. Okay, here we go. I have wound my skein into a cake, and immediately I want to do a magic ring. And so I'm not going to do a magic ring because apparently with this pattern, you start in a chain two. Oh, sorry, I'm going to give this little hook a try. Oh my gosh. Between this hook and this yarn, I don't know. Chain two, and then it wants me to do work 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So that's how I'm going to make my circle. And I broke my thumbnail. I usually use my thumbnail for getting into my stitch. I'm going to do yarn over, yarn over. I'm going to do traditional. Oops. See, I've been doing yarn under so long, I want to do that. So let's put 6 in there. Sorry, I'm going to redo that. This yarn is very splitty. It's very rough. Hook is very flimsy. It's bending with everything I do. I think that's all for the hook, guys, because my hands are going to hurt. I have to hold it much tighter than my weighted hook. I'm going to start over with my preferred hook, which is my furls. I have 6, and so as you can see, there's going to be quite a hole there. We're going to leave it. I'm going to continue on so you won't have to hear me whining and complaining about the yarn. We're just gonna go with it, guys, and see what happens. I'm continuing on with my Cookie Monster crochet journey via 1979. And this yarn, for as rough as it is, has amazing stitch definition. But I cannot tell you how much this hole in the top is bothering me. I guess I'm going to have to sew it closed before I stuff. But anyway, that is making me a little cray-cray. So anyway, it's the yarn is not bothering me as much as I thought it would. It is rough and splitty, but like I said, that stitch definition is kind of pretty. Okay, I'm finding some issues with this pattern. It happened, I don't know, in the fifth round. I had some issues, but the math is not working out, and I'm trying to figure out. So like round 10 here, 10 singles, a decrease, and then it's got a star, 2 singles and a decrease. Repeat from star twice. So to me, that means you crochet 10 and a decrease, 2 and a decrease, repeat that, 2 and a decrease, and then 8, but that doesn't equal 28. I would have to do the 2 and a decrease 3 times. Anyway, I think it's just written a little weird. So what I'm doing is 10 and a decrease, 2 decrease, then repeating that 2 decrease twice, which I think is what they're intending, but it's a little confusing to my brain. Tell me what you think if you see something different. All right, here's an update. I've got a few more rounds on the head here, and you can see my decrease rows are driving me a little bit crazy. I've just had to slow down trying to do them traditionally. let my yarn breathe a little bit more, meaning not pulling as tight so it kind of fills in that hole. And I am going to go ahead and use the tail and sew that top hole open because I don't want a big opening. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. All right, I've got the head and neck done on my hook there, and it's time to start stuffing. Oh my goodness, this is lumpy and bumpy. Okay, this is going to be interesting. All right, I'm going to stuff the head. This is kind of crazy. I don't remember anything like this as a kid. Yes, this definitely wins the prize for the strangest stuffing I have ever used. It actually flattens out okay when you really stuff it in and just work with it a minute. But it's just very strange. All right, let's see how we're doing. Okay, so we're getting more of our head shape. You can see my decrease rows there. In this pattern, they had a lot of 2 in a row, 2 increases in a row, 2 decreases in a row, and obviously that is going to show in my fabric here. Okay, true to form, I feel the need to work on Cookie Monster's face, so I have somebody looking at me. I've said before in other videos that I like to give them some personality as soon as I can, and that encourages me to keep working on them. So I'm going to work on the eyes. All right, I'm attempting to sew my eyeballs on, and I'm having a terrible time with this stuffing. The blunt needle will not go through it. It just keeps getting caught in it. So I'm gonna have to change to a sharp needle to end off my Cookie Monster eyeballs. All right, we have some eyeballs. Cookie Monster is coming to life. All right, we got eyeballs on. It was kind of interesting. They had you use the inside out version, and they didn't sew on. Well, I had trouble sewing in general because you could not pass the needle through the stuffing. I had to get pliers out to pull it through, which I don't enjoy. But anyway, there's that. I've got his mouth marked. Now, this is going to be interesting. I'm supposed to use a split stitch to embroider and fill in his mouth. Now, I have done embroidery, but it has honestly been years and years. So I'm going to have to practice my split stitch and see how we do on Cookie Monster's mouth. I've progressed to the limbs, and these are some strange crocheted limbs. So on the arm, you start with a flat piece and then chain 3 and join and then make a circle. And that's where I'm at right now. This is so reminding me of when I first started crocheting, taught myself from a book, and you just had to trust the process because basically all you had was a picture of the finished product, and if you weren't sure what they meant, there's no extra pictures to show you what they mean, and you just kind of gotta follow the pattern and hope for the best. And let me show you the foot. This is the strangest foot I have ever crocheted. This is the finished product, and the instructions are to sew it to the bottom and stuff lightly. So I think I'm gonna have to sew it down here a little bit more, but it goes under the body and sticks out. So very strange foot, and you have an actual right and a left because they're under the body that way. So let's see how that's gonna go. And the mystery arm continues. You then flatten and crochet 2 rows together and then chain. So it looks like I'm making some fingers. All right, here is his finished left arm. And it's got this little flappy piece that I guess you sew to the body. doesn't say anything about stuffing this, but it does look slightly stuffed on the picture. So I guess I'll decide that as I go along. But there's a hand. Hello. Thumbs up. Bye. Josie, bring me the gecko. Bring me the gecko, baby. Here, come get it. You got the gecko? Say hello to everybody. Say hello. Okay, I'm back with my vintage Cookie Monster crochet kit circa 1979, 46 years ago, and I have finished him. So let's see how he turned out. There he is. So, the yarn. It's very scratchy. It's almost like working with twine. My fingers were very irritated by the time I was done. The stuffing was the worst. It was worse than the yarn. The needle kept getting stuck. I couldn't even work it under stitches because that tip would catch a big hunk of that stuffing, and you couldn't pull it back and you couldn't pull it forward. It was a pain. So doing the split stitch to outline this mouth was almost impossible. I had pliers. Oops, Josie wants to say hello. Let's see. Oh, there she is. I had to use pliers to pull the needle in and out. My hands were killing me. Are just so bizarre because they got this little flappy thing back here, and that's what you sew on. And then there's this arm. I did like his fingers because Cookie Monster does have very distinct fingers. He's got a little cookie, and I actually enlarged the cookie. The cookie was a whole round less. Thought it like wouldn't even show in his hand. He's got cookie crumbs on his face. The eyeballs, so they're not full circles, they're flat on the bottom, and they had you embroider the eyes in the hole. So it was hard to try to get the pupils offset because you're trying to sew the same bottom. Anyway, it was a bit of a challenge. So from the side, I'll let you look from the side. Oh, Josie, do not steal. He looks to me like E.T. He looks like he could be, if he was brown, he looks like he could be E.T. So this was really fun to be able to get a kit that would have been available when I was young, and what that experience would have been like. I felt so sorry for the little person who I showed you had just a little chain started because this was not an easy pattern for a beginner. So the difference in the pattern, and I guess some people write it this way, but I wasn't used to it. It took me a minute to catch on as I started. They give you a phrase, so do this, and then repeat it. Josie, do not get my yarn. And repeat it twice. So they want you to do it and then repeat it. So a total of 3, and I'm going to have to lock my door. Okay, Josie is safely corralled. Let's see. Oh, I was talking about the pattern. So instead of just saying, here's the phrase, do it 3 times, they want you to do it once and then repeat it twice for a total of 3. It took me a minute to figure out that that's what they wanted. Just ran up and down stairs, and I'm a little out of shape. So the whole experience was very fun. The crochet hook, let's see, I'll show you what materials I had left. The crochet hook was crazy. It was very flexible, and I probably would have broken it had my hands had the tolerance to do it. It's just like very flexible. I had this much blue left. I had quite a bit of that. I had a little bit of the white left. I had a hair of the black embroidery thread left. I had a hair of the brown that was used with the chocolate chips. and I had none of the tan. I had to substitute tan for my cookie crumbs on his face after I increased the cookie. I had absolutely none left. So that's the only thing I ran out of. I did use every bit of the horrid stuffing. And so the needle that came on here, it is an embroidery needle, but it was very tiny, and there was no way I could do what I needed to do to get through that stuffing. I do know why it was pointy now. I did need a pointy one. I just had to use a longer needle. So that is about that kit. Let's see, was there anything else? I think I told you most of the things about the pattern as I was going through it. So this was fun. He in no way looks like the Cookie Monster that I know and loved as a child as I was watching Sesame Street. So I decided I would freehand what Cookie Monster looks like to me now. So this is the Cookie Monster that I created. He's really a prototype. I was trying to do, so this is the regular loop stitch. This isn't like I did with Liam. Liam was a chain 10 loop, and the fur was a 3-round row of fur. So this was faster, but when you do the loop stitch, you're doing it on the wrong side when you do traditional. So I found instructions for right side loop pattern. But what I found out is it wasn't securing the loop in. It was easier to do on my hands, but the loops stretched out. So I was playing Yarn Chicken. I only had one skein of this big twist value in this darker color, because this was more the color I remembered him being, was a more royal blue, deeper blue than the kit. And so I didn't want to frog it and redo it because my hand was already killing me. So he is not somebody that I could give to anybody because he does have gaps because of the loop stitch I was trying to do. So I think he turned out very cute. I got his eyeballs perfect. I think I got the proportions pretty good. And he sits and is a very happy Cookie Monster. So this is what I think of when I think of Cookie Monster. So tell me, which is your favorite? Circa 1979 version or Pam 2025 version? This was a fun challenge. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. If you like the content, consider subscribing to encourage me to keep making videos because it is a lot of work. And if people are going to watch them, then I want to make them. And then, of course, remember, every day is a good day to crochet. Bye-bye.